and welcome to the LagosTUG meeting for March. This is our second meeting for the year, and we are very excited to have two amazing guests or speakers from the community to join us today. Our theme is Pixel Perfect Dashboards, Mastering SVG Precision and AI Prompt for Stunning Visualizations. And we have two amazing speakers. We have Kasia and Timia to join us today. So Kasia is a senior BI analyst at EcoVadis, and Timia is a data and sales enablement director at Teva Pharma. But yeah, first join us, be a part of the Tableau data farm in Lagos and Nigeria. We are dedicated to building a supportive and inclusive community for Tableau enthusiasts in Lagos and Nigeria at large. Our mission is to connect Tableau users of all skill levels, from beginners to experts, fostering environments where members can share knowledge, network, and grow their visualization skills. We are committed to promoting data-driven decision-making and showcasing the talent and innovation within the local Tableau community. You can easily scan this barcode and it will take you right where you can click to join. So yeah, meet the LagosTUG leaders. We have Omoke Ayodeji, who is currently a Tableau consultant at Fixed Technologies. Myself, a senior data analyst at Salam FinTech. Maureen works at Swift Insight as a consultant, and Idris, who worked at Flutterwave, but currently a freelancer. So meet Omoke one of the leaders. She is a Tableau consultant who is focused on helping individuals enhance their skills and navigate their visualization journey. She's a passionate Tableau lover with recognition as a Tableau ambassador and a co-winner of the Michael Christiani Community Leadership Award at the Vizi's event last year. And as we mentioned several times on the weekly Data Farm blog, with a Views of the Day nomination on Tableau Public. In her free time, she enjoys watching movies, excluding horror movies, and finds relaxation through sightseeing. You can follow her on X as seen. Then myself, I'm a data analyst at Salam FinTech, using Tableau for some time now for both work and fun. I am a Tableau visionary and also an ambassador, and also received 6 of the day nominations on Tableau Public. Outside of Tableau, I love Manchester City, the gym, and Pinteresting. Meet Maureen. Maureen is a BI analyst at Data Solution at Data Solution, specializing in Tableau visualization, AI enhanced analytics, and enterprise reporting. She's a 2-time ambassador and 4 times Visa of 0% recipient. She also won 2024 Notable Newbie Visa Award and has taken the stage at the Tableau Data Farm Europe, London. When she's not building dashboards, she's chasing good foods and new destinations. Follow on LinkedIn at Maureen Okonko. And then finally, Idris, who currently works as a freelancer specializing in Tableau, Power BI, and Alteryx, is a 3-time Tableau ambassador with over 4 years of experience. He excels in using Python, Excel, SQL, Alteryx, and Tableau to extract, analyze, and visualize complex data sets. In his free time, he loves to play video games and binge watch Netflix. And we have incredible people behind the scenes as well, responsible for several parts of the TUG community itself, and we always love to mention them and show them. Ground rules for today's meeting: 3 major ground rules. First, to interact, make sure to say hello and interact with the rest of the audience in the chat section. We have some of our community members in the chat section. I'll be very happy to communicate and say hello back to you. During the course of the session, if you have any questions, feel free to submit them in the Q&A section. Selected questions will be answered live at the end of the session. Most importantly, learn and have fun. The meetings are recorded and you would find them on the LagosTUG YouTube channel, so you don't have to worry. And if you also RSVP'd for the event, we'll send it to you through your mail. Now to our amazing speakers for today. We have Kasia, as I said earlier, who is a senior BI analyst at EcoVadis, and Timia, who is a data and sales enablement director at Teva Pharma. So Kasia first, she's based in Poland and has 8 years of experience in Tableau and a strong interest in environmental and sustainability matters. She loves pushing the boundaries of what's possible in Tableau, always believing there's a creative workaround to any challenge. By designing innovative dashboards and exploring unique approaches to data visualization, she aims to inspire others to think differently and discover the endless possibilities within Tableau. If you are very active on LinkedIn and you are in the Tableau ecosystem, you definitely have seen lots of amazing insights and posts from Kasia. And if you're not connected with her, you should right away. She would be speaking on SVG-Ya Later, low-res creating high-definition images in Tableau. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and you can go for it, Kasia. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you very much for this lovely introduction. So let me share my screen. And just let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So I've prepared a couple of slides here in Figma, actually, but today's session will be a bit of a demo of something that I would like to show to you. But before I go into this, thank you for introduction. I am Kasia, and I'm from Gdynia, Poland, currently working as senior BI analyst at EcoVadis. I'm also a freelance database consultant. I'm a Tableau public ambassador, and this year, first time Tableau visionary as well. But above all, I would say I'm a database enthusiast, and I really like looking for out-of-the-box solutions to some of the specifically design issues and challenges that I faced during the years that I've been active on Tableau Public, with regards specifically to my Tableau Public visits. So today I would like to talk to you about how to create high definition images for use in your dashboards, not necessarily in Tableau Public, but I think in Tableau Public they have most application. And before we dive into this topic in more detail, I would like to show you two examples of one of my visits. So this is a viz that I've published a couple of months ago. It's a Halloween viz. So I know the topic is a bit gore about horrors, but I think it kind of encompasses a lot of the ideas that we will talk about today quite well, because it utilizes a custom background image in here, which is a collection of different elements. So you can see here custom fonts. This font is not any font that is supported by Tableau Public. And as you might know, Tableau Public has a very limited number of fonts that you can use that will work well after publishing. So in here, I've used a couple of different fonts actually in here. I've also used custom images, also some animations like this title in here, and like some bug scrolling here and there, maybe like a spider at the bottom as well. So a couple of fancy stuff. But today I would like to focus on the element of high fidelity that goes with this type of database solution. So in here I've prepared a second version of the same database that is not published. It's hidden on my profile, so it is published, but it's not visible. It's not the one that is currently in my portfolio. And except maybe for the title, of course, this is not animated in here because this is in a PNG file. It's a different format of the graphic that I've used in here, just to show you the difference between the solution that we will talk today about versus a typical type of like extra graphics that you can embed in dashboards, which are typically in PNGs. So if we zoom into this section, for example, specifically, and I do the same here, I'm not sure if this comes across on the screen, but the difference in quality here is massive. And the reason why this is because my original viz, which is available for my Tableau Public portfolio, is using SVGs. And this is what we are going to talk about today. So how to leverage SVGs in database for high quality resolution images. So let's go back to our slides. And first, let's think about what is SVG, because you might not be familiar with this. So SVG is a scalable vector graphic. We typically build them in tools like Adobe Illustrator, Inkscape, or Figma. And today, for today's demo, I decided to choose Figma, even though on a daily basis I use Adobe Illustrator. But the benefit of Figma is that it's free. And it's actually quite powerful. It has many options, so I think this is a very good alternative to Adobe Illustrator. And then here I have prepared a couple of examples of SVGs. So SVGs are nothing less than just a collection of points and lines between the points that are mathematically calculated to create a visual shape on your screen. So you can see that if I click on this shape, I can see some points, in fact, and the lines in between them. And if I move that shape in here, that point, maybe just this point, it changes automatically with the movement. And of course, it doesn't have to be as simple as this shape to the left. It can be more complex, like this bird in here. If you look at it, it has many more points, many more lines, but in fact, the idea is exactly the same. So it's just the bunch of points and lines in between them. And you can actually create something even quite complex, like this bird to the right in here, which has a collection of different shapes that are grouped together. So like in here, we have one element, here another one. And they actually also have gradients. So you can add gradient in the same way, mathematically kind of calculated, so that it appears the way a normal image would. And if you zoom into this, you can see that it is quite high fidelity, like with extreme zooming in, there are no pixelation, there is very sharp crisp lines that you can see in here, which is one of the main benefits of using SVGs that I will talk about in a second. But first, let's maybe explore this shape. So if I just select the simplest one, for the sake of example, you can actually export the file into SVG format through Figma. So in here you have an option to export it in SVG. And I can open it with, for example, Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is a tool for coding. It's a tool for programming. But since SVGs are just a piece of code, mathematical code, we can use Visual Studio Code to preview it as well. So in here you can see that my shape, and this is the code that goes kind of behind. I don't know if you can see, it's a bit tiny, but essentially we're interested in this part that says path. So the path defines what we see here on the screen. It just tells program to go from one point to another and to draw some lines in between those points. So L indicates a line. So for example, if I just remove that piece of code in here and save it, you can see how this shape has immediately changed to a triangle because I removed one of the points. I can also very quickly just change the fill-in and the stroke. So the benefit of working with SVGs is that since this is a textual file, it is processed quite fast by computers compared to like pixelated PNG, for example. So for now, I'm going to close this. And we are going to move on to the part on the benefits of using SVG. So why would you use it? Of course, the high quality, no pixelation element is amazing benefit. But for me, it's also about scalability. So because the shapes are built as mathematical equations, let's say, we can kind of zoom in on them and zoom out, maybe make them, scale them up like 30 times the same shape, and it is never going to lose its quality. So if you take this small shape in here and kind of maybe print it on a banner outside of your home, it's going to look just as great as it does here. Versus with PNG files or JPEGs, it's not given, right? So the quality element of it is always there, and you don't have to worry that something will just look kind of out of focus and maybe blurred a bit. Also, as I mentioned, since there's just a piece of code that goes behind SVGs, it loads faster. So for Tableau specifically, it just has to retrieve it as a piece of code versus ping in the server to retrieve the pixel information about your PNG. So in general, they should be loading faster. And for Tableau use, I would say the ability to add custom text at high quality is also a big win for me. Like, I pay attention to details, so I would never publish a viz that would have like blurry text, for example, which frequently happens with PNGs, unfortunately. And you also have to think about the context of your users who are looking at your viz. So maybe something looks quite okay on your screen, but someone else with a higher resolution of the screen would have to zoom in on your viz to see it at the same resolution, which then could cause some blurry lines and pixelation. And last part here, animations. One big benefit of using SVGs is the fact that you can introduce some movement to them. So like with my horse viz, you have seen some back scrolling. I actually use slightly different method in there, but in general, the premise is the same, that you can use SVGs to introduce some movement as something interesting to your viz, and it's actually quite simple. And I will show you this today on today's demo. So today we are going to look at how you can use Figma to build your SVGs for use in Tableau. Then we will have to host our SVGs on GitHub. Why is it? Because by default, Tableau does not allow to use SVG as an image format in the application, in Tableau Desktop, for example. Well, it allows it, so you can, when you select the image object, you can select SVGs. However, it will compress it, so you are going to lose all the benefits of working with SVG in its original format. So the way we go around that limitation is to host an SVG on an external server, and then use a link connected to that file to place it within a web page object, which is a bit of a workaround, but it works quite well. I've been using it for many years now and never had an issue with this. And with GitHub, you can actually do this for free as well, which is a great benefit here. And yeah, of course, you can add animations. So in order to add those animations, you have to work with that external server like GitHub in order to add some HTML code to it. So here is my example of like a simple viz that we will try to recreate in Tableau. So this viz, if I click into this and maybe expand the section here, which shows me different elements of the viz. So it includes different pieces in here, like the header, which has some gradient. I also have custom fonts in here, which you can see they've been turned into shapes. This is actually quite crucial, that whenever you work with text in SVGs, it's good to flatten them, or in Adobe Illustrator terms, to create outlines so that the text is just a shape rather than is recognized as a text element on the viz, because then we ensure that everything will scale up quite nicely, and they would appear exactly as you see them here, no matter what the medium is, let's say. So we have some text in here. I've also created a button underneath, which we will use later on to make this bird kind of disappear, fly away off the screen, let's say. But before we do this, let's start with simply embedding this slide as an SVG image into Tableau. So in order to do this, I will select this whole slide. I will navigate to SVG again. Oh, and one thing that I also want to highlight in here is that I've renamed some of my groups. Like in here, this group is called Bird. I did this because later on, as we will work with the code behind this slide, it is easier for me to identify different elements in the code. And you will see in a second why this can be a bit tricky. So in order to ensure that the aliases for those groups appear in my final SVG code, I have to click on these three dots and select include ID attribute and export it. So I'm going to preview this in Visual Studio Code, just as I did with my previous shape. And well, in here, you can see that this file obviously is much more complex. It actually has around 1,000 lines. So it seems quite intimidating. However, a good news is that you actually don't have to worry about all of this. It's not necessary for you in order to use this technique in Tableau. Even for introducing animations, you will see that this is actually not important. Unless you want to do something very specific, then yes, it might be more important to kind of identify specific sections in here, maybe remove some bits and pieces, but you can also do this visually on your slide. So for now, let's not worry about this, but this is the code that we see. It's the same structure. It starts with SVG and ends with SVG code as well, right? So it's quite simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to GitHub. So GitHub will serve as my repository of uploaded files. And in GitHub in here, I've already created my repository. Once you create your account, you just have to ensure that you create such repository. Mine is called Tableau files. And before you start uploading anything, you just have to go to settings and ensure that in this pages section, you select deploy from branch. So I'm not going to go into too much detail into why this is important, but there are two kind of requirements for all of this to work. First, the repository has to be public. So you have to ensure that the site is publicly available, and you have to set up this section in here in order to ensure that we can use those files as URLs later on. And interestingly, here at the top, you can see the name of the site, your site now, where your files will be available. So if I copy this and just paste it in my new browser, you can see I get an error. The reason for this is that in here, we're just referring to our repository rather than a specific file. So the idea would be to upload the files and just kind of append them into the URL so that you can see the file in action. So let's do that. We can go to our repository here. I already have some files prepared, but for now, let's not worry with them. I'm just going to click on add file and upload file. And I'm going to use DemoBird SVG, which is our slide from Figma. I'm going to select commit changes. So commit means that you're kind of confirming that you want to run this action. And here you can see at the bottom that I have my slide uploaded. So I can click on it. And in here, I can see that it's pending. So it's still being processed. Sometimes GitHub takes a while to finish uploading, but it's happening. And in here, I can just maybe preview this. But most importantly, what we are going to need from this section is this name. So this is the suffix that we are going to use in our URL in order to show it in the URL format separately outside of GitHub. So I'm going to copy this here and go back to our URL and paste it. So it's not going to work. Oh, so now it was already pre-processed, so we can already see this. Sometimes it takes a while before this works, but you can see that our slide is here. And I can zoom in and everything looks exactly as I want. So we need this, this URL in order to embed this in Tableau web page object. So I'm going to copy this, and I've already prepared a small dashboard in here, which has corresponding size of our slide. And I want to show you the difference between the PNG version and SVG version. So first, I'm going to go back to Figma and just export this as PNG this time. So select PNG, export DemoBird. And then here I have an image object. So I'm going to select my PNG file. You can see that it does allow me to select SVG, but as I mentioned, there will be compression happening, so you're not going to get the benefits of SVG there. So this is my PNG file. In here, I have a web page object. If I preview the layout, it's in here. You can see it's web page object. So I can edit the URL and just paste our DemoBird URL, right? So this looks quite nice. If I compare it to PNG, I think you can see right away that the text looks a bit blurry here. Granted, on Tableau Desktop, compression is much bigger than after publishing. So once you publish this, this might not look as dramatic as here, but in general, very rarely it will look exactly as your original file. Like sometimes fonts will look bolder, versus the SVG version is the only way you can ensure that the file looks exactly as you intended it to look. So as you can see, that's actually it in terms of using SVGs. It's quite simple. You can use all the free tooling like GitHub and Figma to create this yourself. Now I want to take this to the next level. So I want to use this section here, make it fly, to make the bird disappear. And the way we will do this is by, first of all, creating a sheet. So in here, I just placed a blank sheet. It just uses a placeholder. It's nothing special. And if I change the shape, you can see the shape in here. But in general, I'm just using a blank shape. I've created a transparent shape. You can do this in PowerPoint, in Figma, wherever you want. And I just use this as my shape and nothing else. And I've placed this on the top of my my file in here. The idea would be to run a URL action. So once I click on this button, so on this invisible sheet, the URL in my web page object would switch to the same version of this file, but this time with the bird flying away. So how can we do this? Well, we have to introduce movement. And in order to do this, we have to utilize something that is using HTML structure of the code. So in here, I've created a blog post. It's actually even 7 years ago since I started using this method. So back in the day, I created the viz on garbage in ocean, and Flourish twins, so Kevin and Ken, asked me to write a post on how to create this. This post goes into detail of how to work with SVGs and how to animate shapes. But today, with AI, I don't think this is necessary to understand all of this. All we need from this block is pretty much to understand this, that our SVG code needs to be wrapped in HTML structure. And it needs to be wrapped in HTML structure to ensure that we can introduce that animation, because on its own, SVG does not handle animations. It will actually be handled by the style segment within the HTML code. So what we need to do is we have to wrap our SVG code in this bit of extra structure. So I'm going to copy this and go back to my downloaded files, open the SVG. Let me just open this with Visual Studio Code again. So I have this SVG code in here. And up front in here, I'm going to add that copied text. You can see that it's saying that the character here is not in line with ASCII code. So I think it's just the formatting of the browser. So I'm going to just replace them with normal quotes, and it should work fine. And then at the end, just add these two markers. So I'm just going to go to the very bottom and add them here. Now I want to save this as HTML file now. So it's no longer going to be SVG, but now the extension has to be HTML because it's no longer SVG, it's HTML. And just as we did before, I'm going to upload it to my repository here. Add upload files, choose DemoBird HTML, commit changes. Where is it? Here. So it's DemoBird HTML. Now you no longer see the slide because GitHub here is kind of thinking that you're working with code more now. So it's previewing this as a code, but you can see our elements in here. And if I copy this name in here and just paste them in here, well, it's not loaded yet, but in a second it will load, and you will see that this file is nothing different from our SVG file that we have used before. So you can see, oh, it loads now. So it looks exactly the same. You might be wondering, why are we doing this? Well, because of the next step. So the next step would be to introduce code that is responsible for running animations. And for this, we need that HTML structure. So what I've created here on this final slide in terms of the tooling and kind of instructions on which tool should be used for what, at the bottom in here, I've created a suggestion on how you can create a prompt in, for example, Gemini to ask chat for suggestion on how to actually do this. So in here, I'm saying that I have an SVG file embedded within a basic HTML structure. What should I add to the code to create an animation of the bird group? So you remember we named the bird as bird. So this is important to make it move and disappear to the right after the initial second from the load, right? I don't want to change SVG. I also asked for that. So I'm going to paste it here. And Gemini is suggesting C as a solution, so to add something like a piece of code in into the style section. So I'm going to copy this, and this time I'm going to do the change directly here in GitHub. I can do that as well. So in the style section, maybe here before the closing element, I'm going to paste this. You can review this in detail. There are some comments in here, but essentially this style is just telling what should happen with our bird group and how it should be animated. So I'm going to commit that. To save it, again, it's going to take a moment to load, but if we review this, so you can see that there is, in the bird group, we've added some animation element, and it says what it does, so it just sets the animation name, duration, timing, and delay. And then we have the keyframes flyaway, so an actual piece of code that handles the transition between the current state and the flying away. So let's see if it's already loaded. Refreshing this, not yet. Sometimes it takes a moment to load. Oh, it works now. So you can see it kind of disappeared, right? So we can just copy this file here, the name of this this URL, and we're going to just add an action here in Tableau. I actually have this already created, but we can remove it and start from scratch. So go to URL. We have our URL transparent button selected, and upon clicking on it, so let's select it, I want to change my web page object, which is on the place in here, and I want it to go to this HTML file. So if I click OK, click here on make it fly, it goes away. So that's a very simple demo of how you can use those animations. Of course, this solution is limitless, really. You can do whatever you want. I've tested it on so many of my vizzes. So I think sometimes it just kind of adds a visual interest to your viz. You don't want to overdo this and add too much, but maybe it will come in handy for your next project. Thank you. I'm just going to stop sharing. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much, Kasia. That was really, really amazing. Learned a lot. So I think, yeah, we have like blown away comments in the chat. Do you want to take like one or two questions now, or like at the end of everything? Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2 questions. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I think because I did put a question on, I was typing in my next question. I think I saw your like the part where you showed how you use Gemini to make some of the process faster. But I was asking if in the world of AI today, if there was a way that we can accelerate some of these processes with some of these newer tools for some people that are not as technical or not as familiar with like how GitHub works or how HTML, like writing an HTML code works. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, when I started with using HTMLs and SVGs, that was a total mystery, and I was very, very intimidated by the volume of code and not understanding what was happening. So for sure, you can use chats to help you first to understand the code that you're seeing, but then also to add the structure that you need. One thing that I would mention, in GitHub, you actually have an option to ask chat within your file to make changes, and it deploys changes automatically. Of course, you have to review it, and with bigger files like SVGs tend to be, it might become a bit tricky, it might do something unexpected, but definitely worth checking out. And what I would recommend is not for a chat to edit the file that you have, but rather to explain to the chat, okay, I have a file that looks like this. It starts with SVG. It stops with the end quotation, SVG tag, and how should I change this code in order to do this and that, right? And then you will get pretty good suggestions on how to edit this. So that's something I would recommend as a way forward with chats.
All right, great. Thank you for the answer. And the second question, in this case from me as well, is how you get inspirations for your visualizations, right? Like for some of the amazing work you do, like what inspires that's like the initial process of the idea to the end process of posting that visualization. How do you stay inspired? Yeah.
I think, well, to be honest, just life. Like sometimes I would just look around at things that surround me, like even architecture, the nature. All of this has some elements that I try to incorporate in my visits. But if you're looking for something a bit more definite, I would say I check out Behance and Dribble, which are platforms where people publish graphic design, kind of art. I check this quite frequently, and that's also very inspirational. So yeah, of course, Tableau Public as well, which is endless source of inspiration. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If you have any other questions, please feel free to put in in the Q&A chat, and we can have our answer at the end of Timia's session. So I'll just share my screen quickly to introduce our next speaker. So for our next speaker,
I will do the introduction. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. All right.
We save time.
Okay. I mean, I don't think I've done it, so let me just do it quickly since I'm sharing. Right. So we have Timia next, who is a data and sales enablement director at Teva Pharma. She is a seasoned expert in business intelligence and analytical engineering, currently working as data enablement associate director at Teva Pharma. For the last 8 years, she has worked with biotech and pharmaceutical companies across the industry. She is passionate about creating meaningful insights from data and has a strong desire to empower professionals through coaching. In 2022, she launched our website where she shares valuable insights and resources related to data. Additionally, she takes pride in a leadership role with Data Plus Women TUG in Amsterdam, where she champions diversity and inclusion in the data field. Outside of her professional commitment, she enjoys practicing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu while cherishing moments spent with her family and her beloved dog Lily. Timia is an experienced yacht master and diver, comfortable both above and sea level. That's a lot of hobbies, and it's great that you're, as good as in everything. So please welcome Timia. You can share your screen. You have the stage. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Windows. And you hear Spanish behind me. I'm in a hotel room. They're the Spanish. They're always shouting.
Yeah, just a little. I think we're good.
Prompt engineering with Tableau. Yay, AI. I think there is no day that we mention AI.
Sorry, Timia. We can only see the meeting screen, just in case you want to share the main one. We can't see your slides right now. I can only see the meeting.
You don't see my slides?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Trying again.
Okay.
Is it coming up?
Yes, yes, it is now. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So thanks for the introduction. What is left is actually I have been fired. So I'm not enablement director anymore from April. They couldn't put the AI changes on top of it. We just have been a reorganization. So yeah, I never thought I will get fired one day with 70 people, but I'm one of those now. Uh, what is weird that people don't know why I'm so weird is because actually I was born Hungarian, but I grew up in Latin America, in Brazil, so I'm half, and I live in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, but currently I'm in Spain teaching at the university. So and I told to you guys like, yeah, I have time for a few hours because this weekend is actually I'm doing my diver. I'm going to be a rescue diver. So this is what I'm doing currently. And the hobbies are still coming up. Like I want to do so many things, but I don't have time. So I have to mention this guy Andrew Angie. He was the founder of Google Brains, and now he's basically delivering all of the AI courses on Coursera. You can see his face everywhere. So he was very, very optimistic about AI in the beginning, but now he's kind of changing his mind, because he compared AI to electricity, that it's going to change and transform all of the industries, from healthcare to agriculture to communications everywhere. And now he's saying that he's worried about people losing their jobs, and I am one of them now. So I'm very well aware of time, so I will try to make it short, but also put a bit of practice. How does it look like? So why we want to pair data visualization with AI, and these are I'm bringing. Oh wait, where is okay? So now it's back. So why? What should it deliver for us? What are these? I'm bringing you 4 examples that why it should work for us with AI. First of all, is about it's conversational analytics. There is a chat to chart concept, and this is meaning that we have to simplify the work with data. So we are going away from being a SQL expert, being a coding expert, and drag and drop. So NLP and prompt engineering should help us, and especially my users who are non-technical, like most of in my company, they even have a problem with drag and dropping. So it should be business user friendly. So this is where I think all the softwares, that's why we call it a SaaS apocalypse. This is where I think all the softwares and the tools and platforms are going that way. And the other one is how AI should work for us is through enhancing data visualization. There is the glass box approach, which is basically proactive intelligence, that with integrating machine learning, integrating all these new AI solutions, that the data visualization tool should uncover all the patterns and also provide us real-time insights. So this is the future. This is how it should work for us. So it without spending a lot of time in discovering and creating coding manual codes, the platform should break it for us and show us the trends. The other one is, I think, is going to be, it's still not working well with the platforms that we use, but the hyper-personalization, I think it's going to bring a lot of value because it's tailors the view for, we don't have to use, for example, in Tableau, we use a lot of row level of security. And also with the Power BI, we also have another security. So it's very complex and it's very meticulous job. So I think with AI and with database, we can create tailored hyper-personalized dashboards. Hopefully it's going to come and it's going to be feasible. And then the other one, I think people forget about data governance and security most of the time, but I think AI should help us with data processing and also data prep automations that actually these solutions can clean and join data sets for us automatically. So I'm going to bring you two kind of groups to understand. So who are the AI native data visualization tools and platforms? I'm not, I'm bringing, I know Tableau is also gonna come, but just to understand how the market looks like. So we have Julius AI, Domo AI, Polymer, and ThoughtSpot. Interestingly, ThoughtSpot, they're claiming that they're full AI native. Well, it's not that user-friendly as they think, but let's see where this kind of group goes. And of course, now we are going back to the traditional business intelligence tools, but these traditional, during the last few years, they got powered by AI. Tableau with Einstein Analytics, Power BI with Copilot. Sigma is very coming up and taking place in the scene. It's growing really fastly. And then Looker, since Google bought Looker, they also paired up with Vertex AI. So these are the traditional platforms that, they were high code, low code, and now they are powered up with AI. And let's see who is surviving. I feel this is like a Hunger Games here. We don't know which company, which powerhouse gonna come up with what kind of new stuff. I'm really curious what in San Diego they're gonna show in May. Unfortunately, I'm not going this year, but they are bringing something big. Hopefully, that they are with the Einstein Analytics. We will see, or Tableau next. So prompt engineering, it sounds very stiff and very technical. So basically, we have to give instructions to all of the AI models that is running behind the scene. We have, with the prompt engineering, we are designing and optimizing all of these text inputs and using NLP with it for the maximum and the biggest results. And we have a lot of examples. There is a few short examples. There's a lot of techniques to use prompt engineering. And as you've shown, Kasia also showed you how she uses Gemini, and also my preference when I'm not using Tableau AI, for example, I always go to Gemini or Claude, which is built by Anthropic. So with this, so prompt engineering is part of Gen AI because we are generating something. So Gen AI is generative AI. So we are generating the most accurate, relevant, and useful using AI with prompt engineering. So this is the behind. So why it's so crucial? And because with prompt engineering, what is we want to deliver? we want a really good context. So prompts provide context that help us to get a outcome. We have guided reasoning, which is basic chain of thought prompting. So it builds a really long logic for calculations and creating either images or either code. And with prompts, we can mitigate biases. We can enhance creativity with all these prompts. If you think about Midjourney or all of the image generations, like you can even set the paper type, the colors, everything. So it really how you create the prompt, how you create your text is very, very crucial. So usually we use, so the gold standard, the golden boy in 2026 is the CoStar framework, which is especially used. You can use this in other ChatGPTs, like as I mentioned, ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, that you provide the context first, then the objective, then the style. You know how the style, like what can, if you want to have a pastel color or non-pastel color, you set the tone. This is for who, and for who is this is for the audience. Because when you create, like I know that when I create some AI LinkedIn post, I also set up like this is for professionals, or this is for colleagues, or this is for friends, and also the response. So you have to define the format, and especially with when you create images and stuff, it's very crucial to define the format that you would like to get, in what size and what size of the image, for example, and you want to get it in which kind of format is you want to get it in a post, in a short post message, or it has to be a blog length. So this is like a tip that you can copy from here to kill your prompts. But Tableau AI is a little bit different. So it's a different kind of beast than ChatGPT and Gemini. So it uses metadata, and prompts needs to bridge gap between human business questions and database logic. So this means that even though you can be non-technical user and using the chat to create data vises and calculations, but you have to know the data. You have to know the language in Tableau. What are the data sets that you're using, and what is the content of your data set? So you cannot cheat with this. That you just say, and also in Tableau AI, this is a cheat sheet for you, that it's usually it's entity metric time formula that we work, because how is sales going is not going to work in Tableau AI. I mean, it's not going to work anywhere, to be honest, in the case of prompt engineering. So with that formula, you have to pick, and I will show you in my dashboard that I'm currently developing, that how you can go and also you can create loads, level of detail calculations, which is crazy to think about, that with only one message, only one text, I can create these calculations. And I remember 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, or less than 10 years ago, when I remember I was starting with Tableau, I hated it. Oh my God, a level of data calculations were really like my kryptonite. I was really struggling with them, and I think for everybody it's a big milestone when you nail when you're really nailing the level of detail calculation. You are like feeling, king of this word. So with, for example, with phrases like broken down and at the level and group by, you can use this language in Tableau, Tableau AI to create lots. And also I will show you with other language how I created lots. So with Tableau AI, now since the last version of Tableau Desktop, they allowed Tableau AI in desktop. It's not just on cloud, but of course you have to have, so us ambassadors, we have access to it. But if if you're paid version, then you have to have like Tableau Plus or Salesforce Plus subscription, something like that. And you have to make sure in this desktop version, I will show you later, that in order to make Tableau AI work with ancient analytics, you have to connect to the server first. Otherwise, it's not going to run. And it's always the same. If it's always the same outlook, you have to look for the Einstein analytics, Einstein icon. And then it's like in server, like in the online version, and in the desktop, it's going to appear on the right side. And I have taken this diagram from Tim, Tableau Tim, but now he is now no Tableau Tim anymore. He's just Tim. So he had a really nice LinkedIn course, and I've taken this, like, he describes that how Einstein's trust layer works. So when you create the prompt in Tableau, then it goes through a long process and go through all these models until it pops back. So it's pretty crazy that how fast it works, and it goes through so many processes. So Tableau AI load. You see, now I created it. Now I asked differently with classify, and half a year ago I tried it and I didn't understand. So the guys keep working on this. So now Tableau AI understands classify, what it means. And I'm going to show you, like, can you classify first time intakes and repeat intakes in a context. So this is the dashboard that I'm working on. It's about animal shelter data. Just trying out. This is my prototype. And proudly, Kasia, I used Figma, but not on your level for the background. I always use Figma for wire typing and sketching and prototyping. So you see, let's check. Okay, I'm signed into. Brilliant. Now there is the Einstein. And I'm cheating because no, not with this. So I'm going back to cheating. So this is how it ends up. Can you classify first time intakes and repeat intakes? So it's actually creating a calculated field for me. And I can also edit it anytime I want. You remember when we had to deal with all these loads before? It was pain in the butt, So now with this, it goes a bit easier. So it added, so it created for me this intake classification directly and automatically. It created this field for me, intake classification. Okay. And then I went on and I asked that create a bar chart showing the count of intake, first time repeat intake is grouped by animal type. So this is what I got, this beautiful chart that is showing me in no time. It was less than a minute with coloring as well. That is, it's providing me this intakes classification where I see my data and I see where the animals, which are the repeated customers, which are the customers intakes. So which are the rescue dogs and cats that are coming back. 1 minute, very easy. Amazing, right, guys? So the next one. And I think I can share the presentation with you, right? So yeah, everybody gonna get the PDF from my presentation. So I wanted to create a heat map, and I wanted to have I wanted to know which which animal type is having problems and which are the risky ones. Obviously cats and dogs, we have the most number, and I just wanted to know, I wanted to have an answer. Okay, what's happening with them? How are they sick? And it's working. Okay, I was like, I don't like it. Suggestion. And you can use the suggestion easily. Let's check. And you can spend a lot of time, figuring out which type, but at the end, what I change it with the colors and with the chart type is I asked I asked Tableau AI to add a new field, include intake type. And then it created a beautiful heat map for me. And then in no time, I went on and changed the colors. So it's matching with my design. And the last one, because we are running out of time, is all the calculated fields. So calculated fields, I take it as, for example, please create a calculated field of that rate intakes. So what I've done is I asked, please create a calculated field of the death rate of the income. So I was playing with all these calculated fields that what I want to include as a KPI or a ban, biggest number for my dashboard. So because the death rate is really high, what I found out, so I thought it's with the adoption rate, it's really good to add to the dashboard. So I asked, please create, and Tableau AI created already the calculation for me. If I want, I edit it, but I don't want to edit it at this time. It created right away. It went to the tables, and and it was added to my data panel. And then I just dragged and dropped, and look at here, I already have one of my KPIs. Of course, then you just, and I did the same, for example, with the adoption rate as well. It calculated for me. I asked Tableau AI, please calculate the adoption rate. It's also calculated for me with a calculated field. And you can go, then you play and play and play, and then you will have a breadth of the vises and calculated fields and maps even. I created even the map. No. Yep, with Tableau AI, but I was going, it's a long, because I was trying, you can try what works for you, what is looking pretty, what it makes sense, and you can use the suggestions and just try, or just delete it and try new. So I hope I'm kind of running out of time already. So thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a lovely weekend, and you can add me on LinkedIn. I'm developing my website, so probably next week I will announce how it's going to look like and how things are changing. And thank you for your attentions, and let me know if you have questions.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Yeah, I think we have a question in the chat. So she said, Kendi said, can Einstein debug calculated fields errors or improve it to make it work seamlessly?
Wait, just want to go back to. Okay.
Yeah, so you can check the chat for it. She was unable to put it in the. Yeah, so she said, can Einstein debug calculated fields errors or improve it to make it work seamlessly?
No, not yet.
Okay, right. That was.
It's just going to tell you that something is wrong with it. Okay. Like, for example, what is telling me, it was keep telling me that, oh, you created this metric already. So at least it's recognizing that there are duplicates.
Okay, great.
We are getting there. It's getting better and better. And also, there would be another presentation. And Maureen remembers that in DataFam London, everybody went crazy with the presentation of the MCP.
Yeah, absolutely.
That it's going to open new doors for us.
Also, a question from me is, how do you go about the learning curve from not having an understanding of how Einstein works or Tableau Next or some of these AI tools within Tableau to being able to get a proper understanding of how everything works together? So what's a pathway you can recommend or suggest to anyone that is trying to get to improve themselves in these aspects?
I think the first one is, I think it's more difficult to use the other platforms like Gemini and because you can use the very there's so many techniques for prompt engineering. You can have the short one, just create the calculated field or just put into ChatGPT or Gemini or whichever. I want to see the top data visualization tools in 2025 or 2026. So these are really easy ones. Try to get more difficult, like ask codes and calculations from ChatGPT, and then I think with Tableau, then you will have this progress, and for business users is very tough. it's crazy that I've been asked to do prompt engineering courses because they are using every big company, they're creating their own ChatGPT inside. It works as through RAG, so it's augmented. It has to be based on their own data sets and own PDFs. And I received a request from a law firm that they started to use their own ChatGPT on their own database and stuff, and they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to create prompts.
Yeah. See.
So
Yeah.
it's a process. It takes a lot of practice, but I think at the end you will nail it. And also, especially, what helped me a lot to play with image generation, because with image So with image generation, you really have to specify what you want. And with that same kind of detailed version, you can also use for other tasks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We still have 2 more questions. So the first one from Kasia, it's in the Q&A. She's asking, calculated fields often require deep knowledge of specific business logic that is not always documented in the metadata. How does this AI tool handle business context, and what safeguards are in place to ensure that automated visualizations don't lead to, quotes, technically correct but contextually misleading insights?
Kasia, love the question. Girl, I see that you know your craft. Because this is the most problem that we have, I think. And this is why I think Salesforce, which was very, very surprising that they allowed MCP, because they kind of saw that Einstein is hallucinating here and there. It's not working. So I was trying, even December when we went to the data fam, even I was on the podium and I tried to make Tableau AI work, and it was not working for me. So it's I think with connecting to Gemini, especially with Claude, it's gonna get better. So with Einstein Analytics, I'm not 100% relying on Einstein Analytics yet. I have to say it out loud, but I think everybody knows who worked with it and knows in the community. Did I answer your question, Kasia?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, she has another question, and I'm just going to read that out. So she's asking, as AI begins to automate the technical, quotes, heavy lifting, like writing complex calculated fields and generating initial chart layouts, how do you see the role of the Tableau specialist evolving? Sorry.
Also, very good question. We had a very long debate with my students in the university this week, because everybody is scared where our job is going, and this is very, very hot topic, especially that everybody's getting fired because of AI, or just putting the AI there, but they just like in the Netherlands, every big company, we have ASML, for example, the chip company, thousands of people are getting laid off. Heineken is laying off people because of AI. Booking laid off thousands of people because of the chatbots and an AI. And everybody's looking into how to remove more people and be more efficient. So that's a very, very hot topic currently. And as an experience, my personal experience is 5-6 years ago, I could get a job as a Tableau developer. That job doesn't exist anymore in the market. Everything is changing. The market is really shifting really rapidly and crazily. In that level, I also have to pivot now. Like, I'm going back to school in April. I'm going to finish data engineering, because I know that only with DataWiz and only with these BI platforms, also BI developing is kind of disappearing nowadays. So what I see a shift is either data visualization is part of data engineering, and we are again hunting for unicorns because it's impossible that everybody knows everything, data pipeline, orchestration from Gen AI tooling to database. But again, we are started to hunt for unicorns, and or what I see a shift is all this commercial excellence and sales excellence and all that roles are kind of ingesting these database capabilities and data capabilities. So that kind of it's really heartbreaking for me that that also in my community, in my database community, people are out of jobs and we have to pivot and find something else and or be freelance. Like you see open to work a lot in LinkedIn. So it's only with Tableau. Unfortunately, 6 years later, it's not possible to get a job. And I'm sorry for bluntly and being honest, but this is what I see very closely. And also, it's not just Tableau. It's like Salesforce admin. I'm also Salesforce admin and Salesforce platform owner. It's not possible anymore. You have to be part of a bigger ecosystem, and you cannot do just only Salesforce or Tableau jobs anymore.
Kasia, I don't know if that was good for your question.
Yeah, maybe I would just add something like my own thought about this is that I think we will have to pivot to more soft skills. So kind of maybe focusing on being a guiding force behind the reporting and data viz in future, so that if like a marketing manager can build their own visualization easily in Tableau and they ask like generate a sales report, they might not necessarily need a sales report, but they have a different business question that it would be our job to uncover, right? So I think this is this discovery phase that AI might not be too great in at the moment. It lacks the empathy that people have to kind of dig into certain topics. So my hope optimistically would be that maybe that's something that could be a way forward for us.
Absolutely. And I really hope when AI comes and does my laundry and take out my dog, and this is going to be, I think, the next big revolution. But until then, it's kind of thing that AI taking our jobs, yeah, for certain industries, but our knowledge of data, AI cannot replace that kind of logic.
Yeah. Can I add two or one more stuff here?
No, Romy, you can't. Sorry. Of course.
I really love jumping into conversations on AI. Like, it really excites me to hear different perceptions from people. And when it comes to job and Tableau and is AI taking our job, AI is already here and jobs are being taken. The important thing to know is how do you fit in the entire ecosystem, like Tamia said. For Tableau, I've been privileged to work with 2, 3, 4 number of tools when it comes to artificial intelligence, Claude, Stitch, Figma, name them, all the design tools. And why I said design was that when you're starting out in Tableau, you all like the aesthetics of Tableau. Now, if AI can take away the aesthetics and take away the complex calculation, what is left for you? Is your storytelling, is your creativity. And I know Kasia mentioned that as well. So if we can shift beyond Tableau desktop, more towards Tableau Next, which they keep on refining and refining to be better, then more storytelling and more creativity. I've built like a couple of dashboards where I tell Claude to build a certain wireframe for me. Amazing job, the interactivity, gives it the branding, even with ghosting. But the real question is how your business user or your user get to understand what you're trying to say. You must have the context, you must have the business domain, and you must tell your story well. And that is what AI or artificial intelligence in Tableau easier to do? So that's my own take on it.
Okay, thank you, Maureen. That's a lot of amazing contributions. We eventually pivoted to AI at some points in the conversation, as it is everywhere now. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to share my screen as we try to round up things. Yeah, so thank you, Timia and Kasia, as well. So really happy to have both of you in this amazing session. I think it's also the Women like History Month, if I'm correct. So it's really nice to have both of you join us for that. So thank you everyone as well for attending this March event, and we hope to see you in April for our next event. Be a part of the community by following LagosTUG on X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as subscribing to the YouTube channel at LagosTUG. Follow and join the channel by scanning the QR code. Join us to enhance your Tableau skills, collaborate with fellow data enthusiasts, and be a part of a vibrant, dynamic group. You can scan the barcode and you can join